From 1970 through 2017, the Brewers had only won 2 division titles, 1982 and 2011. 1981 was a split season, and they won the second half, but they were not crowned division champs. So the Yankees were that year. So winning division titles didn't exactly grow on trees in Milwaukee, but they have in recent years, yet they should never be taken for granted. We'll talk about a special night at AmFam Field coming up next. The Brewers, NL Central Division champs once again.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, just such a great feeling to see that RBI base hit by Jake Bauers. They had clinched the division title anyway before that because the Cubs lost. But that's just kind of the cherry on top. The Brewers with a walk-off win, to celebrate like that and let the champagne flow. And it never gets old. It doesn't. Even though they've won 3 division titles in the last 4 years, they've been to the playoffs in 6 of the last 7. Okay, many heartbreaks in there, but I'm just talking about regular season. Okay, winning a division title, this means a lot. As Christian Yelich said, it's hard to win a division title. Obviously, look at the Brewers' history. But in recent years, you saw the T-shirts on my open on YouTube. We own the division. The Brewers are owners of this division. They have a stranglehold. And as one writer once put on Twitter tonight, the Brewers are really, really good, and they are going to be a problem for a long time. Yes, they are. And the Brewers, division champs, and more to come. More to come. We'll get to all that coming up here on Locked On Brewers. My name is Chuck Freeman, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, proud host of Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. This show is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd. It's only a couple of days away. All FanDuel customers get $5, bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of the NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So bet the $5, get the 3-week free trial, and visit FanDuel.com to get started. But you got to make that bet. And when you do, 3 weeks of the NFL Sunday Ticket is yours from YouTube TV. All right. I mean, it's just so fun to be out there. And when they clinch at home and the champagne celebration in the locker room, it was funny with Jackson Chourii at the age of 20. They had the non-alcoholic drinks in front of his locker, and that was pretty funny. But if you think about it, this could be one of 5 celebrations, champagne celebrations. They celebrate for winning a division title. They celebrate for winning the wild card. They celebrate for winning the divisional series. They celebrate for winning the NLCS. And they celebrate for winning the World Series. All champagnes. It's not one. This is the only sport like this where they don't wait to the end of the final game. The world's. You don't need to become a world champion to have the locker room celebration. This is how it's done in baseball. And with expansion over the years, 5 times the Brewers have a chance of doing this particular thing. Really, really cool. And I'm all on board. And the Brewers talked about, hey, we won a division title here, but we can win a championship with this team. And why not them? Why not them? I was reading a column in the paper. I should say online, but it was a newspaper article. And it talked about all the contenders, the Phillies, what the Phillies bring to the table and why they will be World Series champs. Oh, the Yankees, why they will be, in Baltimore and all those teams. And then they mentioned the Milwaukee Brewers. And they were mentioning all the things the Brewers, why they won't win a World Series. Not a big bat in the middle of the lineup. Lack of starting pitching. And they go on and on. Rookie manager. They even threw that in. The manager of the year in baseball. And this article slighted him. All the ways that the Brewers won't win the World Series. Now, I know there's doubters out there. I know there is. But you can't help but get excited about this team and the magic. And you wonder if it's going to want to run out sometime, but you just knew they were going to come back and win that game on Wednesday night. They're down 1-0. Rhys Hoskins hits a fifth-inning home run against his former teammates after earlier in the game hitting a double, stranded on second base, but doubled with 2 outs. So Rhys comes up again and homers in the fifth inning, ties the game. And both teams have a couple of small threats. Both teams are striking out like it was going out of business once again. And then Devin Williams comes in the top of the 9th inning. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. 3 strikeouts. And Chourii leads off the bottom of the 9th inning. I mean, it was almost too predictable. So I told a couple of guys in the press box tonight, almost too predictable. Like you saw this happening. Devin striking out the side, Chourii leading off the next inning. You knew he was going to find a way to get on. And he triples down the right field line. I mean, that guy was motoring around the bases in easily to third. And then he scores. The Phillies eventually load the bases. And Jake Bauers gets up and delivers a base hit to right field down the first base line, and that's it. But they didn't even need that game. They would have celebrated like that had they lost. I think when you lose something like that, when you kind of proverbial back in, it takes a little bit of the luster on it, because you lose and you're feeling bad because you lose, and then you have a locker room celebration. But in this case, they won on a walk-off, so they're celebrating anyway, and the champagne was flowing. Thank you, Craig. I mean, again, how poetic justice is this? That Craig Counsell's team had to lose earlier in the day, and of course blew a 3-1 lead. They were leading. I mean, the Brewers were eventually going to win this division anyway, but it was even cooler to see the Cubs lose. So Craig's team blows a 3-1 lead against Oakland, and I've been telling you, man, Oakland, that's a scary bad team, and Oakland came from behind and beat them 5-3 late in that game. So thank you, Craig. And the lovable losers. Funny how the Brewers have dominated this division. Dominated the division. The Cubs have their one World Series title in 2016. The Brewers have dominated this division. And down the road, the big market Cubs who could spend all the money in the world that they want, but don't, they have to look up once again to the Cubs. They've been doing that since the Brewers beat them in game 163. As you see, for watching me on YouTube here, you see the program up there and my press credential going down there to cover it with Bart Winkler and enjoying the day. And that's still one of my favorite all-time moments, winning 163 down in Chicago. And these moments like this, they never get old. They're fun. Freddie Peralta has been in 6 of 7. All 6 of these. 6 of the last 7 years. Freddie Peralta has been involved in these post-game celebrations. Amazing. Been on all 6 of these playoff teams. But a storybook ending, and the Brewers get another division title. Now, what would they do with it? Okay. Now, those are the doubters. This is where this guy with the article comes in and starts bashing all the reasons why the Brewers can't. The Brewers, after the game today, in interviews we're all doing on the field and in the locker room, we're talking about, we can do this. We have Willie Adames told us, we have a hungry team. We have a hungry team that can get to the World Series. We have guys in this team that want to win this. We have hungry pitchers. We have young guys, hungry guys is what he said. Guys, and you could tell this is a hungry team, have not lost more than 3 in a row all year. The resilience, again, they bounced back after a loss on Tuesday, take 2 or 3 from the Phillies. I look at the Phillies, and I look at the Brewers, and I say the Brewers don't have to take a backseat to the Phillies. Brewers are, 4 games behind them or whatever it is. They don't have to take a backseat. Yeah, they got the glamour with, Trey Turner and, of course, Bryce Harper, who struck out like a million times in the series. Did homer on Tuesday night, but still. Brewers took 2 or 3 from these guys, and maybe they meet them again in the playoffs. But the Brewers don't have to fear anybody. This BS about, they don't have a frontline starter. Yeah, they don't have a big bat in the middle of their lineup. I get all that. I understand that. But the way this team is playing and the magic they have, I mean, you can never count these guys out. And I know that's an old saying in baseball, but I really feel it with these guys. These guys, man, are the most resilient Brewers team I've seen in my lifetime, and I've seen them all. The most resilient Brewers team because they just fight and they find ways to win. Like I said, bottom of the ninth inning, even if you lose, you still win the division title, but they just found a way to win, put the pressure on the defense, and get the job done. Meantime, Craig's team down in Chicago, watched them earlier today. Lifeless, dull, boring. Seen that before, Craig. I like Murphy's style of ball. In fact, Murphy was asked on MLB Network by Harold Reynolds, I think it was Harold Reynolds, about it being a college atmosphere. And he shied away from talking about that, but it kind of is with these guys. When I say a college atmosphere, Murphy's a college coach, Notre Dame and Arizona State, and you got a bunch of young guys, and there's just a connection there. He's just got the pulse of this team so well. Yeah, are there certain mistakes that he makes managing that, recently that, we're a little frustrated at? Well, yeah, that happens. But still, manager of the year, wire to wire, as he said in the locker room after the game. All right, more to come. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. We'll talk more about the celebration, what's ahead for the Milwaukee Brewers. This is a celebration of the Milwaukee Brewers on this podcast today here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. I'm a card collector, as you could tell from my sports memorabilia that I got hanging in back of me. I have lots of cards, and the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a rookie card just is not in the cards for me. I love connecting, but that's some serious money to drop. Thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, it's now possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that I listed was a hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all the possible cards, and a clear hit rate for each one. Arena Club, the slab packs are revolutionized the repack game with transparency. So right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB. Again, use that promo code LockedOnMLB, arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB, arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB, promo code LockedOnMLB for that 10% off. And you'll see why Arena Club is the hit with card collectors. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Good to have you along here on Locked On Brewers. We are just getting started, not only here on this podcast, but, man, October baseball is coming this way again. 2 weeks from tonight, the Brewers could be playing Game 2 of their wild card series at AmFam Field. You know what happened last year in Game 2? We're not going to go down that road. It would be so disheartening if that happened, but I'm not going to even think about that and ruin our night or our morning because of the great, let's celebrate the great season these guys have had. They've provided us with a lot of entertainment. 30,000 there tonight. That follows up the 30,000 there from last night, weeknight and all that, September. Okay. I keep hearing, Packers football state. The Packers aren't playing on a Wednesday night. Still 30,000 fans at AmFam Field. It was great to see. And the Brewers, man, they're just, you look at them, and I've said this from the very beginning, they don't wow you over. A lot of young guys. There's not a lot of impressive batting averages, but somehow they find a way to get things done. Willy Adames is struggling a little bit right now. We'll expect him to turn around. That launch angle looks a little steep these days. But Rhys Hoskins, as I mentioned, coming through with a double and then the game-tying home run. Rhys, I said he was going to have some big moments, and still to come, big moments in October for Rhys Hoskins. You know it's coming. What was great in the locker room Murphy, as the manager always does, gathers the whole team around before they whip open the champagne bottles. And they had a few open, but then he paused the celebration and he brought in Bob Uecker. And he said, Bob Uecker epitomizes what a champion is all about. He's the example here every day, Bob Uecker. And just like in past playoffs, Uecker was celebrated in that locker room. 90 years old, still broadcasting baseball, still coming down to the ballpark. Yeah, he's not there every day, but he's 90 years old and still covering the team. We'll see if he goes on the road for the playoffs. I think he has in the past, but still, just an icon, a guy who symbolizes the Milwaukee Brewers, has seen it all from 1971 on. Bob Uecker, many, many bad years. But yeah, that guy who at one time threw batting practice, he did that for like 20, 25 years, was throwing batting practice before games, and then he'd go up and broadcast the game. But Uecker, Murphy singling him out, stopping everything, and telling the team, he's our example. He epitomizes a champion. Okay, maybe not as a player, but as a broadcaster and as a guy who just has fought through health issues and all that. Bob Uecker is indeed a champion. Of course, he's a Wisconsin sports icon, Bob Uecker. And the Josh Bowers call, still pretty cool. I heard the Bowers call on the radio. You called it. Just fantastic. So, yeah, Uecker, 90 years old, in the locker room celebrating with the Milwaukee Brewers. As he says, he's part of the guys, and the guys feel like he's part of the team as well. All right. I think there's still a lot to play for right now. Even though the Brewers have won the division title, I still think that second seed is within reach. I really do. We'll see if the Brewers think so as well. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And by the way, this podcast, get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast. Our podcast is there. We're on all the major downloads. Just hit Locked On Brewers. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, all the alerts or whatever. So it's on your phone every early morning when you get up. You can listen, make us your first listen to Locked On Brewers. All you everydayers out there, you already do that. You listen to us every day. I hear it. I run into you at the ballpark. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you tuning in each and every day, because we're a Brewers community. I'm a Brewers fan. You know, I've been around for a long time watching and covering this team and being a fan of this team all the way back to the 70s. Okay? So we're in this together. We are all in this together, this Brewers community, trying to bust the door down and get these guys to another World Series, the first one since 1982. Also, subscribe to our YouTube. Even if you subscribe to us, and all the content is free. If you subscribe to us on the audio podcast, please go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. All right. This podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Something different for you now from FanDuel. Right now, FanDuel, all customers can get who bet $5 will get a 3-week free trial of the NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So then with the YouTube base plan, the TV base plan, you can watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. I love those late afternoon games. You know, there's 3 or 4 of those games on. It's great to flip around and watch those on YouTube when maybe only one game of yours is in the market. Visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. And again, if you're a FanDuel customer, you bet $5, you get a 3-week free trial. The NFL Sunday Ticket's only going on, though, through September 22nd. America's #1 sportsbook, that is FanDuel. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. And down the stretch we come on Locked On Brewers. Yeah, in that locker room tonight, the champagne was spraying around and you're guarding your equipment. I mean, the #1 thing you're protecting in there, the TV camera guys are protecting those thousands of dollars worth of cameras, and I've seen those get absolutely destroyed. And then, the organization is trying to, some of these cameras get so soaked that the organization is bringing out hair dryers and trying to, and this was a long time ago, trying to dry some of these cameras to make them work again, because those are $1,000 cameras. I didn't think anybody got any equipment damaged. I know I had mine close to the vest here going around. My microphone got a little wet, but you go in there with, I wore this shirt in. This is another shirt I haven't worn in years. And smelling like champagne right now. I did get I was going to wear this too. I got a streamer from the game today. The streamer. I took one of those that was laying on the ground as, they fell from the sky and the fireworks went out after Powers had that hit. That was so cool. The Brewers win. Now, if they lost, they wouldn't have had that celebration, I don't think. But they win in that fashion. The rockets go off and the confetti and the streamers. The streamers. Where is that streamer? It's on the floor somewhere. Streamers come flying down from the ceiling. Oh, here it is right here. Right here. Come flying down from the ceiling, and a Brewers win and a division clincher. But got a lot to play for. And I think the Brewers need to still. The Dodgers won. Okay, the Brewers are still 2 games out in the loss column, 3 with the tiebreaker. I think it's still possible. Did the Brewers catch the Mets in 2008? They were down by 3 games in the final week of the season. Remember when the Mets got beat by the Marlins and the Brewers had to sweep a series at the end and they got in? I think that's how that went when they were able to knock the Mets out of the postseason and either get a better seed. And God, it was 2008. I should be remembering that now, but I was at the game, covered it. But it was so cool. The CC Sabathia here. Anyway, wild card game. I want to avoid that with all costs. The Brewers can certainly catch the Dodgers. They can. They have Arizona for a first of 4 beginning this weekend. We'll see kind of lineup. Usually the day after you clinch a division title, there's a watered down lineup in the next day. Usually the team will just send out the Sunday lineup, like we call it in Wisconsin, the Sunday lineup. We'll see if they go that route, because there's still, again, Murphy's got a chance at that second seed. And I think until it's not a realistic possibility, you still go for that second seed and put the pressure on the Dodgers. Okay. Still got a week and a half left of the season. I still think you got to play strong. Freddie went 5 innings on Wednesday night. He was at 91 pitches. There was some debate. Should he have come out for the 6th inning? I was good with that. Freddie got 5 innings in. This isn't the postseason yet. Okay. And you already clinched the division title, but Freddie went 5 innings on 2 hits. He gave up 1 run, and it was a home run to who hit that? Alec Bohm hit the home run. So he hit the home 91 pitches. Joe Ross got himself in and out of jam. Jared Koenig did a nice job in relief. McGill did as well. You got to give a late off base hit and then got the next 3 guys out. And then Devin Williams. I mean, do you expect anything less? They haven't used them. And, he needed some work anyway. Why not put him in there in a save situation? And he strikes all 3 batters out in the bottom half of the top half of the 9th inning, setting the stage for the bottom of the 9th inning when the Brewers won. All right, that's going to do it. Yep, the Brewers win another division title, 3rd and 4th years, but plenty to play for yet this regular season. And the postseason starts a week from last Tuesday if they get into the wild card, a week from Saturday if they get a first round bye, a week from Saturday they'll play first round divisional playoff game. Ironically, on the day that the Brewers are playing a playoff game on a Saturday, if they get that far, my son chose to have his wedding on that day. Can you believe that? Yeah, I'm old enough to have a son who's getting married. He's getting married on this Saturday, of the first weekend of the playoffs. When he told me the date, I did a face plant. I did. I was like, oh, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. Oh, so we'll get to that when we get to that. That's on a personal level for me. Hey, everybody. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for downloading the podcast. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And my kid's wedding, I'm going to have the phone there. Maybe I'll take a poll here in the next couple of weeks while we'll have some spare time with our team here. If we're not going after that one of those top seeds, if you think it's okay for me to have my phone at the wedding so I can see the Brewers in a playoff game. I'm the host of Locked On Brewers. I got to watch it. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for the show today. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you tomorrow night after the game against Arizona. First of 4 with the Diamondbacks. Remember, it's an early start. It's like a 6:15 start, and the game's on SiriusXM, the SXM app. Search Brewers. You'll get all 162 of Brewers baseball on SiriusXM. And, of course, us. All you everydayers, you know where to find us on Google, Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube. All the major platforms. Locked On Brewers is there for you every day. Until then, Chuck Freeman. Have yourself a great day, everybody. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.